The Huawei P9 I already introduced to you, but here for the comparison we have got it in the middle. On the left and the right, two versions of it, the downgraded P9 Lite and the upgraded P9 Plus. In this comparison video, we will have all three compared, the differences, and especially have the battery runtime tests for you already. And let's start with these two here because they are in most cases totally identical. There are some differences only. The first one is obvious, of course. You have the bigger display, 5.5 inch almost, 139 millimeters, and that's 5.2 millimeters, almost 131 millimeters. 5.15 inch, of course, I'm sorry. So the difference in area here is 13% bigger, the Plus compared to the P9, and the same size here, P9 Lite. And all of them have full HD. You can see that here, almost the same okay sharpness, but these two here have IPS dual domain, while the P9 Plus here on the right is Super AMOLED. So you have these difference in contrast, in of course brightness, and especially in runtime. We come to that at the end of this video. And one more thing concerning here, the display, I wanted to show you in I guess it's smart assistance, exactly pressure sensing. Here we can show what that means because we have the same feature force touch like in the iPhones, meaning the sensor is recognizing how hard you press. Just a light touch and let loose again, you're right here where you started. And for example, if you want to have a zoom factor, how the heavier you press, the more zoom you will get. And if you finally press very hard, you will have the edit mode, just like this one here, and let loose and zoom factor and press hard. So exactly like on the iPhone, with just one little bonus here, and that's replace navigation bar. If you do so, you'll see here that the navigation bar is hidden now, or let's call it, it's almost invisible. It's just these three little tiny dots over here, placed right exactly here in the middle of those four, so you do not touch these apparently, and that means you now have force touch here with these three home and back and task manager, these three features here. Let me go here and then back over. So it's first of all, it looks very decent, and especially you have all the space on the screen for the content, and not like this one losing here that black row on the back here. So and especially it's a little bit tricky on the first, but it's nice to have it, and it's something different. You have to it's not a quick tap and just slight tap. You have to press a little bit harder and a little bit longer, but if you once have done that for several times, then you get it. So I can really imagine that there are people out there who would say, okay, I'm interested in that bigger display and this force touch technology. And there's one more difference you should know, and let's go on the back side. As I told you, these two totally identical in most cases. Here the Lite, of course, on that price has not the Leica dual camera like this one here. You remember on the P9 we've seen that already, two lenses, two sensors combining the information. Here the same camera. Both do have aluminum unibody, all three fingerprint sensor, but one difference here you see, while it's matte and a little bit not so glossy here on the P9, you see more on the P9 Plus the metal look, and especially it's really glossy from the surface, but that has the disadvantage that you see the fingerprints. You do not see anything here on the P9, while on the P9 Plus you see almost everything. So depends on what you like, but for me personal, I don't like it so much, but it has a bigger display, plus it has force touch over here. By the way, when we are talking about the camera, we don't have the Leica camera here. It's just a regular 13 instead of 12 megapixels. We'll have that checked in the final test, of course. On all of them, videos are recorded not in 4K, Full HD only, but I guess in most cases it's totally okay. What I find a little bit astonishing is that all have 8 megapixel photos on the front, but videos on the front, all 720p only, even on those two. And for that price, I find that here a little bit disappointing. That should have been Full HD in my opinion. Coming to prices, by the way, all prices, Germany including tax, may vary depending on your country, but for comparison it's okay, I guess. It's 299 euros, 569, 699, including tax. All have Android 6.0, not 6.01, and all have that. You already have seen that user interface. It's called Emotion UI, so it's exactly the same Emotion UI 4.1 on all three. So that's totally identically from the usage, except touch force here. Yeah, well, the other thing you should know is we have here the same Kirin 955, very strong, powerful processor. Here it's a Kirin 650, so meaning you have a little bit lower processor power. It's a different architecture from the 8 cores. It's clocked only with 1.7/2.0. You have a different graphics unit, but you have 3 gigabyte of RAM, of working memory here, while the Plus, and that's the last difference, has 4 gigabyte of RAM, and data memory 64, 32, 16. So for intense users here, the Plus, of course, is the most desperate, wished one, I guess, but all can expand the memory here. You have all the same, that combination slot. It's 1 nano SIM and 1 micro SD. You cannot use the micro SD as a second SIM, but from the P9 Lite, and that only, not from the P9 and P9 Plus, there's available a dual SIM version. But the regular versions here all have expandable memory and single SIM. So that's of that. And by the way, 128 gigabyte SD card support with all of 3. That's identical here. When we are coming to the difference here from the P9 and P9 Lite, you should also know that we do not have Wi-Fi SC and Wi-Fi N in the 5 gigahertz band here, but all have 4G, dual cell HSPA and NFC. And of course, it's no metal, no aluminum frame here. Even if it looks like, nevertheless, it's just pure plastic. On the other hand, I find it not very disappointing, especially compared to this one. Both is feeling exactly this, almost the same, and especially concerning the how it feels, how worthy, how much the value should be in your hand. The feeling is almost identical. The only thing that might make a difference for you is that you should know here on the P9 we have that 2.5D surface glass here, so meaning you have like a pillow. It's curved a little bit on the edges, so it's directly moving into the aluminum unibody. Here you do not feel anything that's going one thing into the other here. What you will do on the P9 Lite, because you do not have that 2.5D glass here, it's a plain glass. You have plastic back and you have metal frame around here, and it's standing over a little bit. So the glass is lying slightly deeper, so you have that edge here. You will feel that. So it's totally different here from how it feels, but it's not less worthy, and especially it's almost the same kind of solidness as I'm doing here. Try to wind it. You do not hear anything. and especially you do not see any black dots where the front glass is touching down on the panel, could damage any pixels during time. So it's almost the same. It's a little bit, you have a little bit more movements here. That P9 was solid like a brick for that. Here it's still solid enough. You do feel a slight difference here, but is absolutely okay from the build quality, especially for that price. So I do not find it less worthy. It's a kind of matter of taste if you like that edge here or if you like that one. On the other hand, maybe you should have in mind if you let drop these one exactly flat down with the glass on the floor, these are not protected, as here the Lite has that little edge. It's a little bit better protected if it falls flat down with a glass down to the floor. So maybe this will help you too for your for deciding which one might something be for you. All more information concerning camera quality and so on you find, like always, as text only, as a review on my website. That's mobiwatch.net. You can just click on the icon in the upper left corner here. That's, I hope, at least enough for a first quick impression of all these three and the differences. And with that, coming to the battery runtime tests. All of them are, unfortunately, of course, like it is nowadays, fixed. You cannot remove it by yourself, not at least just quickly on the fly. 3000 milliamps on these here, and of course, bigger display, 3400 milliamps. You remind maybe the P9 hasn't done that well. It was 434 minutes. That's 10% below the average. And the P9 Lite, same display size, same display technology, same battery, 418 minutes. That's 13% below the average. So these two are playing in the same league, meaning normal users, regular users will come through the day, maybe not through the second day, and especially intensive users won't make it. They have to charge during the day, I guess, in most cases. Here, P9 Plus Super AMOLED, remind that, is coming on 470 minutes. That's only 3% below the average, so it's not that good, but better than those especially. And most important, maybe for intense users, this one is charging really, really rapidly. It's number 2 now in the ranking because it's exactly twice the quicker than the average here. So with all, of course, measured with the charger, serial charger, Huawei is selling it. So this one is a really strong one. Even, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes are really helping here on the P9 Plus, while the P9 was almost like average, and the P9 Lite 33% below the average. So this one is charging very, very slowly. With the standard charger, you can remove that, of course, to a stronger 2 amps charger or 3 amps charger. All available right now, $699, $569, and $299. I thank you for watching. I hope I could help you a little bit with your buying decision. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye.